What if the key to an unshakable life is not found in conquering great mountains, but in learning to not trip over the small stones at your feet? What if the secret to profound inner peace is simply to stop letting the smallest, most insignificant things trigger you? This is the quiet foundation of all strength. Stop letting small things trigger you. Stoicism, compiled and published by Stoic Power. Lesson 1. Understanding emotional triggers. Imagine you are a soldier, navigating a field that was once a battlefield. Hidden beneath the calm, grassy surface are old, unexploded landmines. You walk along, feeling fine, and then suddenly, without warning, you step on a hidden trigger, and your entire world erupts in a violent, chaotic explosion of emotion. You are left shaken, disoriented, and wounded, often by something that seemed incredibly small and insignificant. This is the nature of our emotional triggers. They are the hidden landmines of our own psyche. This video explores Stoic wisdom as a path to emotional mastery, mental strength, and fearless living, empowering you to unleash your inner strength and remain unshaken no matter what life throws at you. For many of us, we are in a state of constant inner conflict, where we are walking through the battlefield of our own minds, completely unaware of where these triggers are buried. We feel that our emotional explosions come out of nowhere, that we are victims of a mysterious and unpredictable inner landscape, leaving us feeling powerless and perpetually on edge. This is a critical and deeply painful problem because it makes our inner peace impossible to maintain. If you don't understand your own triggers, you are constantly at risk of being hijacked by your own emotions. A thoughtless comment from a colleague, someone cutting you off in traffic, a misplaced set of keys. These small things can detonate a disproportionately large emotional reaction that can ruin your entire day, damage your relationships, and shatter your focus. You live in a state of constant low-grade anxiety, never knowing what small stone will cause you to stumble and fall. The transformative solution is to stop walking blindly and to become a master of your own inner terrain. It is the Stoic habit of meticulously identifying, understanding, and ultimately disarming your emotional triggers so that they no longer have any power over you. The core idea is that, for the Stoics, self-awareness is the beginning of all wisdom and freedom. They knew that our emotional reactions are not random. They are the result of specific judgments and beliefs that we have attached to certain events. The trigger is not the event itself, but our interpretation of the event. A landmine is just a collection of metal and chemicals until a specific pressure is applied to its trigger. By understanding the mechanics of our own triggers, the specific judgments that activate them, we can learn to walk the field safely and even to dig up and disarm the mines one by one. This ancient wisdom feels alive because it transforms us from a victim of our emotions into a scientist of our own mind. To begin this process of mental demining, you must become a fearless investigator of your own explosions. The first actionable step is to perform a trigger autopsy. After your next disproportionate emotional reaction, once you have calmed down, take out a journal and investigate the scene. What was the specific small event that happened right before the explosion? What was the exact thought or story that flashed through your mind? E.g., they think I'm incompetent, or they are disrespecting me. The second step is to identify the underlying belief. What deeper insecurity or old wound did that thought touch upon? This is the explosive material inside the mine. The third step is to simply acknowledge the mechanism without judgment. The goal here is not to blame yourself, but simply to understand the chain of events: trigger, belief, reaction. The benefits of applying these actions are a profound shift from confusion to clarity. You will stop being a mystery to yourself. The feeling of being hijacked by your emotions will be replaced by a growing sense of understanding and predictability. This awareness is the first and most critical step in taking back control and building a life of unshakable inner peace. Your call to action is to become the investigator of your own mind. For the next week, your only mission is to catch and document one emotional trigger. Don't try to fix it. Don't judge it. Just get curious and write down the sequence of events. This is how you begin to map out your own inner battlefield. Understanding a single trigger is the first step, but to truly become unshaken, we must learn to see the hidden connections between them, the secret patterns that govern our reactions. The next lesson will teach you how to become the master detective of your own soul. If you found this lesson insightful, please like the video and consider subscribing to the Stoic Power channel for more life-changing wisdom. Lesson 2. Recognizing hidden patterns in reactions. Imagine you're a detective, investigating a series of seemingly random and unrelated crimes that have been plaguing a city. To the untrained eye, each event appears to be an isolated incident, but the master detective suspects something more. He pins a map of the city to his wall and begins to place a pin for each incident. Slowly, a hidden pattern begins to emerge. He sees that all the crimes are connected by a single unseen thread, a common motive that was previously invisible. Once he sees the pattern, he is no longer just reacting to individual crimes. He can anticipate, intercept, and solve the entire case. Our emotional reactions are like these crimes, and we must become the master detective. Many of us are in a state of inner conflict, where we treat each of our emotional outbursts, our anger in traffic, our frustration with a family member, our anxiety about work, as separate, unrelated events. We are the amateur cops, rushing from one crime scene to the next, never stopping to see the bigger picture. The problem with this approach is that it keeps us trapped in a reactive loop, forever fighting the same battles in different disguises. If you don't recognize the hidden pattern that connects your reactions, you will be doomed to repeat them for the rest of your life. You will think you have 100 different problems, when in reality, you may only have 1 or 2 core issues that are manifesting in 100 different ways. This is an incredibly inefficient and demoralizing way to live. A life of fighting symptoms without ever understanding the disease. The transformative solution is to become the master detective of your own mind. It is the Stoic habit of stepping back from the individual incidents and looking for the hidden patterns, the common threads, that connect your seemingly random emotional reactions. The core idea is that our character is a system, and our reactions are not random bugs, but features of that system's current programming. The Stoics were masters of pattern recognition. They knew that by carefully observing their own thoughts and actions, they could identify the underlying, often irrational beliefs and judgments that were the source of their suffering. A man who gets angry in traffic because he feels disrespected, gets angry at his boss because he feels disrespected, and gets angry at his partner because he feels disrespected, does not have a traffic problem, a boss problem, and a partner problem. He has one single underlying disrespect problem. This ancient wisdom is profoundly empowering because once you see the pattern, you can stop fighting 100 battles and focus all of your energy on winning the one war that truly matters. To begin this work of pattern recognition, you must gather your evidence. The first actionable step is to continue your trigger autopsy journal from the last lesson. After you have documented several individual triggers, you must sit down and look at them all together, as if they were clues on a detective's map. The second step is to ask the detective's question. What is the common thread here? Look past the surface details of the events. What is the common underlying feeling? What is the common underlying fear? Is it a fear of not being in control? A fear of being seen as incompetent? A fear of being abandoned? The third step is to name the pattern. Give it a clear and honest name, such as my pattern of reacting to feeling controlled, or my pattern of anxiety when facing uncertainty. The benefits of applying these actions are a quantum leap in self-awareness and personal power. You will stop being a confused victim of your own myriad reactions and become a focused strategist who understands the core of the issue. This clarity is the key to true, lasting change. You can now direct your efforts at the root of the problem, not just the leaves. Your call to action is to take at least 3 separate incidents from your trigger journal and play detective. What is the single hidden pattern that connects them? Write it down. Seeing the pattern for the first time is a moment of profound revelation, the moment you finally understand the case you have been trying to solve your whole life. Once you understand the patterns that trigger you, you need to build a new default state from which to respond. This state is the unshakable foundation of a peaceful mind. The next lesson will teach you how to build a profound sense of inner calm and stillness. If you found this lesson enlightening, please like this video and share your own experience with pattern recognition in the comments below. Lesson 3. Building inner calm and stillness. Imagine a deep, serene pond. Its surface is a perfect mirror, reflecting the sky with absolute clarity. A small pebble, a trigger, is tossed into the pond. For a moment, ripples spread across the surface, distorting the reflection. But because the pond is so deep and so vast, the ripples quickly dissipate and the surface returns to its natural state of perfect, reflective calm. The pond's stillness is more powerful than the disturbance. This is the third lesson in not letting small things trigger you. You must build the deep, still pond of your own mind. Most of us, however, are in a state of inner conflict where our minds are not like a deep pond, but like a shallow, muddy puddle. The smallest pebble, the tiniest trigger, stirs up all the mud from the bottom, making the entire puddle cloudy, chaotic, and unable to reflect anything clearly for a long, long time. The problem with having a shallow, agitated mind is that it makes you incredibly vulnerable to even the smallest triggers. You have no shock absorbers for life's little bumps and irritations. Your baseline state is one of agitation, so any new disturbance, no matter how minor, can be enough to push you over the edge into a full-blown emotional reaction. This is an exhausting and fragile way to live, where your inner peace is at the mercy of the next pebble that life might throw. The transformative solution is the Stoic habit of deliberately and consistently cultivating a deep inner calm and stillness. It is the practice of deepening your own inner pond so that the inevitable pebbles of life only create the most fleeting of ripples on the surface without ever disturbing the vast, silent peace of your depths. The core idea is that inner calm, what the Stoics called ataraxia, is not a magical state that you are born with. It is a skill that is built through daily practice, like strengthening a muscle. The Stoics knew that a mind that is constantly agitated cannot think rationally or act virtuously. They therefore saw the cultivation of inner stillness as a foundational practice for a good life. Through inner stillness and steadfast thinking, the video guides viewers to become resilient, draw strength from within, and live with unshakable confidence. This stillness is not an escape from the world, but the very foundation from which you can engage with the world powerfully and effectively. To begin the work of deepening your inner pond, you must practice the art of tranquility. The first actionable step is a daily stillness meditation. For 10 minutes each day, sit in a quiet place. Your goal is not to fight your thoughts, but to let them settle. Imagine your thoughts are like silt in a jar of water. When you shake the jar, the water is cloudy. When you let it sit still, the silt naturally settles to the bottom, leaving the water clear. Your meditation is the act of letting the jar sit still. The second step is to practice mindful breathing throughout the day. Set a reminder to simply pause and take 3 slow, deep breaths, anchoring yourself in your body and away from the surface chatter of your mind. The third step is to spend time in nature. The quiet, steady presence of the natural world has a profound effect on calming the human nervous system. The benefits of applying these actions are a fundamental shift in your baseline state of being. You will move from a default state of anxiety and agitation to one of calm, centered awareness. Small things will simply stop bothering you because your mind will be too deep and too still for such small pebbles to have any lasting effect. Your capacity for focus, creativity, and compassion will expand dramatically. You become the deep, clear pond, a source of peace for yourself and everyone around you. Your call to action is to begin the practice of deepening your pond today. Your mission is to schedule and complete one 10-minute stillness session. Treat it as the most important appointment of your day. It is your meeting with the deep, calm, and powerful part of yourself. This inner calm is the fertile ground for a new way of thinking, Once you have created this still space, you can begin to use it to consciously shift your perspective and take control of your reality. The next lesson will teach you this powerful art. If you found this lesson valuable, please comment below on how you plan to cultivate stillness this week. Lesson 4. Shifting perspective toward control. Imagine you are an eagle, soaring high above a vast and rugged landscape. From this incredible vantage point, you see everything with a powerful and detached clarity. You see the winding rivers, the sprawling forests, and the great mountains. If there is a fallen tree blocking a path on the forest floor, you see it not as a massive world-ending obstacle, but as a tiny, insignificant detail in the grand tapestry of the landscape. This ability to shift to a higher perspective is the fourth lesson in not letting small things trigger you. Many of us, however, live our lives not as the soaring eagle, but as the tiny ant on the forest floor. We are in a state of inner conflict, where our perspective is completely consumed by our immediate surroundings. The small fallen tree, the annoying comment, the frustrating traffic jam, the spilled coffee is not a tiny detail. It is our entire world, a massive obstacle that fills our vision and triggers our rage. The problem with this ground-level perspective is that it gives small things an immense and undeserved power over our emotional state. When your perspective is narrow, every minor setback feels like a major catastrophe. You lose all sense of proportion. This is why small things can trigger such large reactions. It is not because the things themselves are powerful, but because our perspective has made them seem so. This is a painful and disempowering way to live, where you are constantly being tyrannized by the trivial. The transformative solution is to become the eagle. It is the Stoic habit of deliberately and consciously shifting your perspective, of taking the view from above so that you can see your daily triggers for what they truly are, tiny, insignificant details in the vast landscape of your life. The core idea is that our emotional reaction to an event is determined not by the event itself, but by the frame we put around it. The Stoics, particularly the great Emperor Marcus Aurelius, were masters of this art of cognitive reframing. He would frequently practice zooming out in his mind, contemplating the vastness of time and space, to remind himself of the utter insignificance of his own fleeting problems. This practice is not meant to invalidate our struggles, but to right-size them. It is an exercise in intellectual humility that frees us from the tyranny of the ego, which loves to believe that our small problems are the most important events in the universe. To begin practicing this art of perspective shifting, you must train your mental zoom lens. The first actionable step is the 10-year test. When you are triggered by a small thing, pause and ask yourself, in 10 years, will I even remember this? Will this matter in any way? The answer is almost always a resounding no. The second step is to practice gratitude. In the moment of frustration, force yourself to name 3 things in your life that you are genuinely grateful for. This immediately shifts your focus from the small thing that is wrong to the many great things that are right. The third, more advanced step is the full view from above. Literally, visualize yourself floating up from your body, looking down on your situation, then your city, your country, the earth, and finally the entire cosmos. See your problem from the perspective of the stars. The benefits of applying these actions are the development of a profound sense of emotional stability and wisdom. You will stop sweating the small stuff because you will have the ability to see how small it truly is. You will conserve a massive amount of emotional energy, which you can then devote to the things that actually do matter in the long run. Your confidence will grow, as you will develop a reputation for being a person of great perspective, a person who is not easily rattled by the trivialities of the day. You become the eagle, soaring calmly above the petty squabbles of the forest floor. Your call to action is to use the 10-year test today. The very next time you feel yourself getting triggered by a minor annoyance, stop. Close your eyes for 5 seconds and ask the question, will this matter in 10 years? Feel the trigger's power dissolve in the face of that vast perspective. Shifting your perspective is a powerful mental technique, But to make it a permanent part of your character, you must protect your new mindset with strong and consistent boundaries. The next lesson will teach you how to build these crucial mental defenses. Remember to subscribe to the Stoic Power channel to continue your journey to a higher perspective. Lesson 5. Strengthening mental boundaries. Daily, imagine a living cell, the fundamental unit of life. Its most crucial feature is its membrane, its outer boundary. This membrane is not a solid, impermeable wall. It is a highly intelligent and dynamic filter. It has a sophisticated system for actively keeping out toxic substances and harmful invaders, while selectively allowing in the nutrients and signals that are necessary for the cell's health and flourishing. A cell with a weak or damaged membrane will quickly be overwhelmed by its environment and will die. Your mind is like this cell, and your mental boundaries are its membrane. Many of us, however, are in a state of inner conflict, trying to live with a completely permeable mental membrane. We allow the toxic opinions of others, the negativity of the news, and the pointless drama of social media to flow directly into our consciousness without any filter, believing that this is what it means to be open and connected. The problem with having weak or non-existent mental boundaries is that your inner world becomes a dumping ground for the world's toxicity. You are constantly being triggered and emotionally destabilized, not by your own thoughts, but by the thoughts and emotions you have passively allowed to invade your mind from the outside. This makes it impossible to maintain the inner calm and stillness we have worked to build. You cannot have a clean and orderly house if you leave the front door wide open for anyone to track their mud inside. The transformative solution is to become the intelligent gatekeeper of your own mind. It is the Stoic habit of deliberately and consciously strengthening your mental boundaries on a daily basis so that you can choose what you allow to influence your inner state. The core idea is that your mind is a sacred space, and it is your most important responsibility to protect its sanctity. The Stoics taught that we must be vigilant guardians of our ruling faculty, our hegemonikon, and not allow it to be corrupted by false judgments, useless information, or the irrational passions of others. This is not about being closed-minded, it is about being discerning. It is the wisdom to know that a healthy mind, like a healthy body, requires a healthy diet. You would not eat poison. Why would you consume poisonous thoughts? To begin strengthening your mental membrane, you must practice the art of selective engagement. The first actionable step is to go on an information diet. As we have discussed before, you must be ruthless in curating your inputs. Unfollow accounts, unsubscribe from emails, and turn off news sources that consistently trigger your anger or anxiety. The second step is to set boundaries in your conversations. You have the right to say, "I'd prefer not to discuss this topic," or to calmly change the subject when a conversation turns into a complaint fest or a gossip session. You are not obligated to participate in toxic language games. The third step is to practice mental non-engagement. When a provocative or triggering thought from the outside world does manage to enter your mind, you do not have to engage with it. You can simply observe it and let it pass, like a strange piece of debris floating by that you choose not to pick up. The benefits of applying these actions are a profound sense of mental cleanliness and sovereignty. You will stop being a passive receptacle for the world's negativity and become the active creator of your own mental environment. Your susceptibility to being triggered by small things will plummet because you will be eliminating most of those triggers at the source. You will feel calmer, more focused, and more in control of your own life. Your call to action is to strengthen one part of your membrane today. Identify one person or one source of information that consistently violates your mental peace. Your mission is to take one small, concrete step to create a stronger boundary. Mute the conversation, unfollow the account, or decide on a topic you will no longer discuss with that person. Strengthening your mental boundaries is a crucial defensive measure, but to become truly unshaken, you must also cultivate a proactive, resilient mindset that can handle any triggers that do manage to get through your defenses. The next lesson will teach you this powerful art. Please like this video if you are committed to protecting your mind, and share your experience in the comments below. Lesson 6. Cultivating Resilient Stoic Mindset. Imagine a master blacksmith forging a sword. He heats the steel in the fire and hammers it into shape. But his final and most important step is tempering. He heats the blade to a precise temperature and then quenches it. He may repeat this process. This cycle of stress and release is what makes the blade not just hard, but resilient. A hard but brittle blade will shatter at the first impact. A resilient blade can absorb the shock of a blow, bend slightly without breaking, and instantly return to its true form, ready for the next impact. This is the 6th lesson in not letting small things trigger you. You must cultivate a resilient Stoic mindset. Many of us are in an inner conflict where we wish we were tougher and less easily broken by life's small impacts. But we treat our minds like a piece of fragile glass, trying to protect it from any and all stress. We believe that the path to being unshaken is to avoid being shaken. The problem with this approach is that a mind that is never tested is a mind that is never strengthened. By avoiding the small stresses and triggers of daily life, you are ensuring that your mind remains brittle and fragile. This makes you even more susceptible to being shattered by the next inevitable impact. A life lived in an attempt to avoid all triggers is an exhausting and ultimately futile endeavor that only makes you weaker over time. The transformative solution is to become the blacksmith of your own mind. It is the Stoic habit of seeing the small daily triggers and annoyances not as threats to your peace, but as essential opportunities for tempering your soul, for building a mindset that is not hard and brittle, but strong and resilient. The core idea is that resilience is the true goal of the Stoic warrior. The famous Stoic maxim, "The obstacle is the way," applies perfectly here. The trigger is not an obstacle to your peace. The trigger is the way to building a deeper, more unbreakable peace. Each time you are triggered by a small thing, and you successfully manage your response using the tools we have discussed, you are not just surviving the moment. You are tempering your mind, making it slightly more resilient for the next test. This ancient wisdom transforms every annoyance in your day from a curse into a gift, from a stumbling block into a stepping stone. To begin this tempering process, you must embrace the heat. The first actionable step is to reframe every trigger as a training session. When someone cuts you off in traffic, your first thought should not be anger, but an opportunity to practice my patience. The second step is to practice voluntary hardship. Deliberately and regularly expose yourself to small, controlled discomforts. Take a cold shower. Skip a meal. This is the act of willingly stepping into the forge to strengthen your will. The third step is to keep a resilience log. At the end of each week, write down one instance where you were triggered but successfully managed your response. This builds a powerful portfolio of evidence of your growing strength. The benefits of applying these actions are the creation of a truly anti-fragile mind. You will not just be unshaken by small things, you will actually be strengthened by them. Your fear of being triggered will disappear, replaced by a quiet confidence in your ability to handle any situation with grace. You will become a person of profound inner strength, your mind like a masterfully forged blade, sharp, flexible, and unbreakable. Your call to action is to choose your forge. What is the one small, recurring annoyance in your life that you will now decide to see as your personal tempering process? A slow computer? A noisy neighbor? Your mission is to greet this annoyance not with frustration, but with a silent thank you for the training. You have now learned to understand your triggers, to build inner calm, to shift your perspective, to strengthen your boundaries, and to cultivate a resilient mindset. The final lesson is about integrating all of this into a new and unshakable way of life. Please take a moment to subscribe to the Stoic Power channel as we reach the culmination of our journey. Lesson 7. Living unshaken by small things. Imagine a great mountain, a vast and ancient presence on the landscape. Over the course of a single day, it is subjected to 1,000 small assaults. The wind tries to erode it, the rain lashes against its face, pebbles clatter down its slopes, birds and insects crawl all over it. The mountain does not react to any of this. It does not get angry at the wind or frustrated with the rain. Its immense, grounded, and silent presence makes these small things utterly and completely insignificant. It remains unshaken, not by fighting the small things, but by being infinitely greater than them. This is the final lesson. Living a life that is unshaken by small things. For all our lives, we have been in an inner conflict, believing that to find peace, we must somehow eliminate all the small annoyances and frustrations from our world. We have been trying to stop the wind and the rain, a battle that can never be won. The problem is that this desire for a life free of small irritations is a fantasy that keeps us in a state of perpetual agitation. Life is, and always will be, full of small things that do not go our way. By pinning our hopes for peace on an impossible condition, we guarantee that we will never find it. We are left feeling like a victim of a world that refuses to conform to our desires. The transformative solution is the final and most profound shift in the Stoic journey, to stop trying to change the world and to focus all of your energy on changing yourself. It is the habit of building an inner life of such depth, purpose, and scale that the small things of the world simply lose their power to affect you. It is the art of becoming the mountain. The core idea is the culmination of all our lessons, the achievement of what the Stoics called eudaimonia, or a truly flourishing human life. The person who is unshaken by small things is not someone who has mastered a set of tricks. They are someone who has achieved a certain state of being. Their peace comes not from their techniques, but from their character. They are so deeply connected to what truly matters, their own virtue, their purpose, their inner life, that the small external dramas of the world simply do not register as significant. Their inner scale is so vast that the small things become, in perspective, microscopic. To achieve this mountainous state of being, you must integrate all the previous lessons into your very identity. The first actionable step is to have a purpose that is greater than your problems. You must be engaged in a life mission that is so compelling and important to you that the daily annoyances seem like irrelevant gnats on the path. The second step is to practice radical acceptance. Embrace the fact that the world will never be perfect. Accept the small irritations as a natural and unavoidable part of the texture of life, like the wind and the rain on the mountain. The third step is to live from your inner citadel. Make your inner world of calm, reason, and virtue your true home, and see the external world as a place you visit, but not a place where your ultimate peace resides. The benefits of applying these actions are the achievement of the ultimate freedom, the freedom from being controlled by the trivial. You will experience a profound and abiding sense of peace that is no longer dependent on your external circumstances. You will unlock a massive reserve of mental and emotional energy that you can now dedicate to your highest purpose. You become the mountain, a source of quiet, unshakable strength, and an inspiration to all who find themselves in the valley below. Your final call to action is a commitment to scale. Your mission is to focus your energy for the next month, not on avoiding the small things, but on growing your big things. Focus so intently on your purpose, on your inner growth, and on your contribution to the world that the small things simply fall out of your field of vision, become too big to be bothered. By understanding your triggers, building your inner calm, shifting your perspective, and cultivating a resilient mindset, you cease to be a victim of life's small annoyances and become the calm, unshaken master of your own peaceful life. A mind that is easily triggered is a mind that is not its own master. By applying the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, we learn to understand our triggers, build an unshakable inner calm, and cultivate a mindset so resilient that the small things of the world lose their power to disturb us. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. We gently remind viewers to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel for more wisdom on building an indestructible life.